John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, 1987, occupies a unique and revered space in the pantheon of 80s horror. More than a simple tale of demonic possession, it is a dense, philosophical nightmare that dares to fuse quantum physics with ancient theology, creating a brand of cosmic dread all its own. While its slow-burn pace and complex ideas may have puzzled mainstream audiences upon release, the film has since been celebrated as a masterpiece of cerebral horror. The following 30 facts delve deep into the film's creation, its hidden meanings, and its enduring legacy, revealing the layers of genius and ingenuity that make Prince of Darkness a timeless and terrifying exploration of the unknown. Inspired by quantum physics, John Carpenter's core concept for the film was drawn directly from theoretical physics, reframing the ultimate evil not as a supernatural demon, but as a physical substance from an anti-universe. By treating Satan as the literal anti-god, a being of antimatter whose existence is governed by different physical laws, Carpenter fused religious horror with hard science fiction. This allowed him to explain phenomena like prophetic visions as tachyon transmissions from the future, grounding the film's terror in a pseudo-scientific reality that felt both intellectually ambitious and cosmically vast. Second part of the Apocalypse Trilogy. Prince of Darkness serves as the middle chapter in John Carpenter's informal Apocalypse Trilogy, a thematic series of films exploring the end of human understanding. Following the biological and sociological dread of The Thing, 1982, and preceding the psychological, reality-bending horror of In the Mouth of Madness, 1994, this film tackles an apocalypse rooted in science and faith. Each film presents a unique existential threat that dismantles a pillar of human certainty, with Prince of Darkness challenging the very foundations of both our religious beliefs and our scientific knowledge. 3. Low-budget constraints. Made for a modest $3 million, the film was a return to Carpenter's independent roots, forcing a creative approach that emphasized atmosphere over spectacle. Shot in just 30 days, primarily at a single location, the production's limitations became its greatest strength, fostering a palpable sense of claustrophobia and dread. This financial discipline meant relying on practical effects, a minimalist synth score, and masterful cinematography to build tension, proving that suspense and intellectual horror could be more effective than a large budget. 4. Donald Pleasence's casting. The casting of Donald Pleasence as Father Loomis was a deliberate and clever nod to his iconic role as Dr. Sam Loomis in Carpenter's Halloween. This intertextual reference immediately signaled to the audience that they were in a world of implacable, ancient evil. By switching the character from a man of science, a doctor, to a man of faith, a priest, Carpenter created an unsettling familiarity while also highlighting the different, yet equally inadequate, human systems being brought to bear against an overwhelming cosmic threat. 5. Alice Cooper's cameo. Legendary rock star and horror enthusiast Alice Cooper made a memorable, non-speaking cameo as the leader of the possessed homeless people who surround the church. As a favor to his friend John Carpenter, Cooper played the menacing figure who brutally impales a scientist with a bicycle frame. This appearance added a surreal, rock-and-roll edge to the film's gritty horror, becoming one of its most shocking and iconic moments, perfectly blending Cooper's menacing stage persona with the film's unsettling atmosphere. 6. Real scientific consultation. This fact is a common misunderstanding. Carpenter didn't consult the physicist Nigel Neal, but wrote the script under the pseudonym Martin Quatermass as a direct homage to him. Neal was the creator of the influential Quatermass BBC serials, which famously blended science fiction with ancient horror, reinterpreting myths as alien phenomena. Carpenter adopted this narrative style, using scientific concepts like tachyons and antimatter to explain religious evil, directly channeling the spirit of Neil's work to create his unique brand of intellectual horror. 7. Filmed in a real church. The film's primary location was an actual historic building in downtown Los Angeles, dressed to look like a forgotten Catholic church. Using a real, decaying location instead of a studio set infused the film with an authentic atmosphere of neglect and history. The building's crumbling facade and claustrophobic interiors became a character in their own right, physically mirroring the themes of spiritual decay and the crumbling of the characters' worldviews under the pressure of the ancient evil hidden within its walls. 8. Practical effects mastery. The film's visceral horror was brought to life through ingenious and budget-friendly practical effects by artist Robert Grasmere. The sentient green liquid was a simple concoction of slime and gelatin agitated by air pumps, while the gruesome possessions were achieved with clever makeup and the use of thousands of live insects. The climactic mirror portal scene was a masterful illusion, using a reversed set, liquid nitrogen fog, and reverse filming to create a surreal and terrifying sequence without any computer-generated imagery. 9th. Quantum leap connection. While not a direct influence, Prince of Darkness shares a fascinating thematic connection with the TV series Quantum Leap. Both narratives are built around the idea of receiving messages or displacing consciousness through time to alter the future and prevent a negative outcome. However, where Quantum Leap presents an optimistic view of correcting history's wrongs, Prince of Darkness offers a dark mirror image, a desperate, garbled warning from a doomed future that may not be enough to stop the apocalypse, reflecting a deeply pessimistic cosmic horror. 10. Carpenter's score. Collaboration. Working with his frequent collaborator Alan Howarth, John Carpenter composed one of his most atmospheric and dread-inducing scores. Using a collection of synthesizers, including a simple Casio keyboard for the main theme, they crafted a soundscape built on minimalist, repetitive drones and jarring electronic textures. The iconic main theme's grinding, inexorable rhythm perfectly complements the film's slow-burn tension, creating a sense of impending, unstoppable doom that is as unsettling as the film's visuals. 11. Donald Pleasence's improvisation. Drawing upon his extensive background as a classically trained Shakespearean actor, Donald Pleasence ad-libbed and refined many of his lines to give Father Loomis greater philosophical depth. His quiet, weary reflections on the nature of evil and the burden of his secret knowledge were enriched by his command of language, turning simple exposition into poignant monologues. This improvisational touch added a layer of scholarly gravity and tragic humanity to his character, making the priest's intellectual and spiritual crisis feel profoundly real. 12th. Female lead's stunt work actress, Lisa Blount, who played Catherine Danforth, demonstrated immense dedication by performing her own physically demanding stunts for the climactic mirror portal scene. This required her to engage in a violent struggle and then plunge through an open frame, timed perfectly with the special effects. Her willingness to perform the stunt herself allowed Carpenter to capture the heroic sacrifice in a single, intense shot, making the moment far more emotionally resonant and authentic than if a stunt double had been used. 13. Religious symbolism. John Carpenter masterfully used Catholic imagery, not just for atmosphere, but to actively subvert horror conventions. The canister containing the evil liquid serves as an unholy womb for the Antichrist, a perversion of the sacred chalice. The crucifix, typically a potent weapon against evil, is rendered completely powerless, emphasizing that this threat is beyond the scope of traditional faith. By grounding the story in familiar religious symbols and then stripping them of their meaning, Carpenter reinforces the film's core theme that humanity's belief systems are inadequate. 14. Box office underperformance. Although the film was a financial success, earning over 4 times its $3 million budget, it was considered a commercial disappointment in the context of John Carpenter's career, especially when compared to the massive success of Halloween. Its niche appeal was hampered by its dense philosophical plot, slow-burn pacing, and bleak nihilistic tone, which made it a difficult sell for mainstream audiences looking for more straightforward slasher fare in the crowded 1987 horror market. 15th. Critical Reevaluation. Upon its release, Prince of Darkness received a polarized critical reception, with many dismissing it as slow and confusing. However, the film steadily gained a passionate cult following through home video, where viewers could better appreciate its complex ideas and atmospheric dread. This led to a significant critical reappraisal in later years, with critics like Roger Ebert eventually praising its intelligence and philosophical ambition, cementing its status as a challenging and prescient work of cerebral horror that was ahead of its time. 16. Alternate ending. Cut. John Carpenter deliberately chose a bleak and ambiguous ending over a more conventional, happier one that was considered in an early script. Instead of the entity being definitively destroyed, Catherine is trapped in the mirror dimension and the threat remains, leaving the audience with a final, unsettling scene of potential horror. This decision was crucial for maintaining the film's tone of existential dread, reinforcing the idea that such a cosmic evil cannot be truly defeated, only temporarily delayed at a terrible cost. 17. Real insects used to create the viscerally disgusting scenes of the possessed dissolving into swarms. The production used thousands of real, live insects, including cockroaches and mealworms. Prosthetic body parts were filled with the creatures and then broken open on camera, creating an effect of nauseating realism that CGI would struggle to replicate. Actors like Jameson Parker had to endure having the insects crawl on them, a testament to the commitment to practical, in-camera effects that defined 1980s horror filmmaking. 18. Victor Wong's Buddhist influence actor, Victor Wong, who played the wise Professor Birack, infused his character with his own personal interest in Buddhist philosophy. He delivered his lines on chaos theory and quantum mechanics with a sense of mystical interconnectedness, framing the scientific problem within a broader, more holistic Eastern worldview. This enriched the film's thematic blend, positioning his character as the calm, philosophical center who understood that the crisis required a synthesis of science, faith, and mysticism to even begin to comprehend. 19. Filming in downtown L.A. The movie was shot in a decaying section of downtown Los Angeles, and this real-world urban decay became a powerful visual metaphor for the film's apocalyptic themes. The desolate streets, crumbling buildings, and the eerie presence of the local homeless population, cast as the entity's sentinels, created a pervasive sense of a world already in decline. Extensive night shoots amplified this feeling of isolation, turning the church into a lonely, besieged outpost in a vast, indifferent, and hostile urban landscape. 20. Carpenter's cameo voice. John Carpenter himself provided the uncredited and heavily processed voice for the distorted messages broadcast from the future in the film's iconic dream sequences. He recorded the lines, which were then manipulated with electronic filters by sound designer Alan Howarth to sound otherworldly and robotic. This subtle cameo makes Carpenter, the film's creator, the literal voice of the future, a disembodied ghost in the machine, desperately trying to warn his characters of their impending doom. 21st. Lisa Blount's mirror fear. After filming the intense and psychologically demanding scenes where she was pulled through the mirror portal, actress Lisa Blount developed a temporary phobia of mirrors. She joked in interviews that she had to avoid looking at them for weeks after production wrapped. This anecdote highlights the immersive and stressful nature of the performance, demonstrating how effectively the film's central horror conceit, the violation of a mirror's reflective boundary, had imprinted itself on the actor who brought it to life. 22nd. Practical mirror effects. The surreal mirror dimension was created entirely with practical in-camera effects, eschewing any digital manipulation. The team built a mirrored image set on the other side of an open frame, using reverse filming to create unnatural movements and liquid nitrogen to generate a thick, low-hanging fog. This combination of classic cinematic techniques gave the other dimension a tangible, dreamlike, and deeply unsettling quality that felt physically real, making the violation of the portal all the more disturbing. 23rd. Religious consultants. To make the film's fantastical plot feel more credible, John Carpenter consulted with theological experts to ensure the depiction of the secret Catholic sect, the Brotherhood of Sleep, was grounded in plausible traditions. While the core story subverts Christian doctrine, details regarding church hierarchy, secret societies, and scholarly rituals were researched to provide a sense of authenticity. This foundation of realism made the central conspiracy, that the Church was hiding a scientific evil it misinterpreted as Satan, far more believable and terrifying. 24. Sound design innovation. Sound designer Alan Howarth created a unique and unnerving auditory landscape for the entity by using innovative electronic manipulation. He recorded whispers and then played them in reverse, processing them through filters and vocoders to create an unintelligible, robotic sound that felt alien and ancient. This avoided typical demonic growls, instead suggesting the evil was a signal or a transmission from another reality, turning the possessed into receivers for a single, disembodied, malevolent consciousness. 25. Donald Pleasence's accent. Donald Pleasence's use of his natural British accent for Father Loomis served as a key character detail, setting him apart from the American scientists. The accent immediately coded him as a man of old-world tradition, connected to the European roots of the Catholic Church, and lending him an air of scholarly authority. This auditory contrast emphasized that he represented an ancient global order, making the secret he held seem larger and more profound than a merely local phenomenon. 26. Budget effects savings. The film's primary antagonist, the swirling canister of green liquid, was a marvel of low-budget ingenuity, costing less than $500 to create. The effect was achieved using a simple mixture of water, gelatin, and food coloring inside a custom-built cylinder with its menacing movement created by air pumps hidden at the bottom. This approach exemplifies the production's resourcefulness, proving that clever mechanical solutions and creativity could produce a more memorable and tangible villain than expensive special effects. 27th. Apocalyptic Trilogy Link. The anti-God entity serves as the crucial thematic link in Carpenter's Apocalypse Trilogy, bridging the biological horror of the Thing with the metaphysical dread of In the Mouth of Madness. All three films feature the awakening of an ancient, non-human evil that threatens to erase humanity. The concept of the anti-God, a cosmic principle of annihilation from another dimension, is a deeply Lovecraftian idea that foreshadows the reality-shattering entities of the trilogy's final film, cementing the theme of humanity's insignificance in a hostile universe. 28th. Home video revival. After a modest theatrical run, Prince of Darkness found its true audience and second life on home video. The VHS release in 1988 allowed fans to re-watch and dissect its dense plot, leading to the growth of a passionate cult following through word-of-mouth, fanzines, and convention tape trading. Later, DVD and Blu-ray releases, complete with director's commentaries, further cemented its legacy, allowing the film to finally be appreciated for the ambitious, cerebral horror classic it is. 29th. Cultural influence. The film's unique fusion of quantum physics, religious horror, and Lovecraftian dread has had a lasting influence on the genre. Its DNA can be seen in later works like the film The Void, which features a besieged location and a portal to another dimension, and in The Upside Down from the series Stranger Things, a dark, decaying echo of our world. Prince of Darkness pioneered a type of intellectual, cosmic horror that has inspired numerous films, games, and stories that explore the terrifying intersection of science and the supernatural. 30. 2025 re-release plans. The announcement of a 4K UHD Blu-ray release by a boutique label like Scream Factory as of the prompt's date of July 2025 signifies the film's ultimate elevation to cult classic status. Such a release, featuring a meticulous restoration from the original negative and new special features, celebrates the film's enduring legacy and ensures its preservation for a new generation. It marks the final stage of its journey from a misunderstood B-movie to a revered and essential piece of 1980s horror cinema. From its clever low-budget effects and Carpenter's atmospheric score to the profound philosophical questions it poses, these details paint a complete picture of a film that was as ambitious as it was terrifying. Each fact, whether about a casting choice, a scientific concept, or a practical illusion, highlights a deliberate creative decision aimed at building a singular, overwhelming sense of existential dread. Prince of Darkness stands as a testament to the power of ideas in horror, a film that rejected simple jump scares in favor of a creeping, intellectual terror that challenges our understanding of reality itself. Decades later, it continues to haunt and fascinate, proving that the most terrifying darkness is not what we see, but what we are forced to contemplate long after the screen goes black. If you liked this video, hit that thumbs up, let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and subscribe so you won't miss out on future uploads. See you next time.